everyone, welcome back for another set of frugal tips that will hopefully help you in your life and in your financial situation. But don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, because that helps this channel grow. And I also want to start this video with a quote that I read, which is absolutely awesome, and that is this: take care of your pennies and your dollars will take care of themselves. So let's get started. And the first thing we're going to start off with is making sure that you look at your bank account on a regular and consistent basis. I look at my bank account daily, and the reason this is because it will help you reduce your bad decisions when it comes to spending, because you will always know exactly where you are financially. And by doing this, you're going to be more aware of how purchases really affect your bottom line. And here's an oldie but a goodie, and that is make sure you turn your lights off anytime you leave a room. And that goes back to that saying, if you take care of your pennies, then your dollars are going to take care of themselves. And with that idea in mind, remember this: every penny that you're not putting in your pocket, you're putting in someone else's. And that's really the idea of all of this. If you go to work and nobody is at home, turn your thermostat to where your air conditioner or your furnace is not going to be running all day long. It's an absolute waste of money. You're heating a house or you're cooling a house that has absolutely no one in there. So why would you do that? I do this all the time, because why in the world do I want to give money away? And that's all this is doing, is if you're heating a house or you're cooling a house for no one, then you're just handing money to somebody else. If you have children, then you may already know this. Some area schools provide free breakfast or free lunches for children under 18. So make sure you are participating in that. If it's going to be given away anyway, it can eventually save you quite a bit of money. This next one might be scary for people, and that is fix it before you replace it. I know that not everybody is very good with tools, good with their hands, things like that, but we live in a world today where we have YouTube, and you can look up just about anything on there. So before you ever replace something that is broken, make sure you at least do your due diligence, look it up on YouTube, see if it's something that you can do by yourself and save yourself even more money doing it that way. Now, this next tip, I venture away from the normal frugality mentality, and that is normally people who are frugal, they like to pay in cash, they don't like to use credit cards. I do kind of venture away from that, and this is why. I used to buy everything in cash. I never got in debt because of it, but it kind of ruined my credit. And then I had to reestablish my credit so I could make my investments as far as buying rental properties and things like that. So that's where I would kind of venture away from that. I do believe it's good to have credit cards. However, it goes back to that one tip where you constantly and consistently are looking at your bank account and you know exactly where you're at and what you can afford, and you don't overspend. And that's the whole reason why people want to pay in cash. They don't want to overspend. But if you're constantly and consistently looking at your bank account, then you know exactly what you can afford. Reason why I like credit cards is, one, you have the credit that builds, and that's going to help you later on down the road, whether you want to buy a house, you want to do investments, what have you. The other thing is, a lot of these credit cards have cash back rewards, or they have travel rewards. So why not use that? If you like to buy fruits and vegetables, consider when they are in season versus when they are out of season, because if they are out of season, they're going to be way more expensive and you're going to pay more. So be mindful of that when you're shopping. Take care of your own yard, do your own landscaping, do your own trimming of your bushes, things like that. And if you have kids, have them do it. So this is going to save you a ton of money. I do my own yard, my landscaping, my mowing, my things like that. I also have a couple duplexes. I take care of that as well. That saves me a ton of money every year. This is an absolutely huge one. Always buy what you need and not what you can afford. That idea is this: no matter how much money you make, if you're always buying what you can afford, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And part of this journey is to get yourself out of trouble and to be in a position where no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. Whether it be storing food, banking money, saving money, you always want to set yourself up for success. And if you're buying only what you need and not what you can afford, then you're doing the right thing and you're going to be okay. As soon as you start down that path of getting that raise, buying what you can afford, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And I've mentioned this next one before, and that is wash your clothes in cold water, not hot water. Now, this is going to save you money on your gas bill or your electric bill, depending on what kind of a water heater that you have. But I had a nice subscriber remind me of another reason why you should do this, and that is your colored clothing will last longer it will retain that color if you wash it in cold water and not hot water. So a great tip, you wanna hang on to what you have, take care of what you have as long as you can, and that's gonna save you money in the long run because you don't have to buy something new. So great tip there. And this next one, some of you may like, some of you may not like, and that is limit your alcohol consumption. Now, if you've ever been to a bar, you know that as soon as you start taking a drink, take another drink, those bar tabs can add up pretty fast. And maybe if you buy somebody a drink or somebody else a drink, it's even more. And then you get hungry and you don't really care about how much you're spending, and then you need an Uber ride home. All of this can add up really, really quick. So my suggestion is do your best to limit your alcohol consumption, because when we become inebriated, we start making very poor choices financially. So, maybe cut that in half a little bit. And the next thing that we're going to talk about is going out to eat. Now, the question is this: do you go out to eat just because you love a certain meal, gotta have it, want it, what have you, or do you go out to eat just to be able to take a break away from preparing a meal yourself? The reason why I ask this is this: if you go out for a certain meal and you absolutely love it, how in the world are you going to save money? Well, you can do a little bit of research and see if you can learn to prepare that meal at home instead of going out 2 or 3 times a month to this place where you get the absolute perfect meal. Maybe you can make it a couple times at home on your own and then go out to that restaurant once a month. Now you've saved a bunch of money. Now you don't have to tip, and you don't have to pay the expense of that, and you don't have to pay the gas and what have you. Now, if you go out just to take a break from having to cook a meal, how can we save money on this? Well, do you have to have a pop? Do you have to have 2 appetizers? Can you drop it down to 1? Can you order a water instead of the pop? Small things like that. Doesn't seem like that much, but anytime that you go out, every little bit will add up. Now, the one thing that I will say is this: do not save money by leaving a bad tip. These wonderful servers, they take the time to do their job at a lower rate so they can make tips, and that's where a lot of their money comes from. So if you get good service, please reward that. All right, let's go to the next one. This next one I like because it helps you be more aware of what you're doing, and that is this: make a log of what you're spending. Every single thing that you purchased, write it down, and then every few days, look at it. See where your money's going. See where you're spending it. Is it on really silly items where you could be saving, or is it things that really need to be taken care of? So start making a log, start looking at it, and it will really help you see where your finances are going. And this next tip can be used during the winter months. So do you have very bad windows? I do. It lets in air, and I don't want to buy brand new windows that's going to cost thousands of dollars. So I do something kind of cheap and frugal, and I buy an insulated shrink kit. It's a plastic that goes over top of my windows during the winter, and it just keeps in a little bit more of that heat, keeps out a little bit more of that cold, and saves me a few extra dollars during the winter. Now, I've mentioned this next one before, but I think it's huge and I think it's important. I do this. So it's grow a garden. Now, does your garden have to be absolutely huge? No. Just think about the things that you like to eat. Do you eat tomatoes? I eat tons of tomatoes. So that's one of the things I grow. I like to eat salads. So grow some lettuce. You don't have to have a very large area. One of the biggest things that I grew last year was tomatoes, and I grew all of my tomatoes in a 10 by 15 area. And I grew over 150 pounds of tomatoes in this area. I ended up canning spaghetti sauce, making salsa, canning salsa, freezing tomatoes for chili, making chili through the year. I mean, I got a ton out of such a small space. So just kind of think about what you already eat and start growing some of this. And another thing that you can also do is think about bartering. Maybe somebody else has a vegetable garden that they have something that you would like, and you have something that they would like, and maybe you can barter a little bit with that. And that is it for the video. Once again, I appreciate you all watching, and make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, because that helps this channel continue to grow, and I will see you guys next time.